morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face this day. And for me, I am really excited to face this day actually. The day has started in a good note and I'm really excited for it. Anyway, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen, 0719-144-144. As it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. Yes, today we're going to be talking about the importance of mental health awareness among parents with school-going children, students, pupils, however you may call them. And today I am joined by a familiar face. He goes by the name Denis, already najua mnamjua. So he's our guest for the day today, and he will be taking us through the conversation of the day. Before I even get to the topic of the conversation, remember this show is probably brought to you by Miss Ashan and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community on matters mental health. So if you have any issue, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our own psychologist here will take care of you, or will even help you get to understand what your issue is. Anyway, so going back now to our conversation, or starting up our conversation, why is mental health awareness really important or crucial for parents with school-going children?
Okay, good morning. Mental health awareness is important because I think we've advanced and we're in an age whereby there is availability of information that will aim to explain behavior in children, in school-going children. Therefore, attributes that may be, or behavior that may have been attributed to things such as adolescence or negative behavior, negative criminal behavior, can now be explained in some other way. You may see children who behave in a particular way, and they say that uyo tu ni, what word do they give them? Stubborn. There's a word given to stubborn children. Kichwa ngumu. Yeah. So you find that now there is a need to be aware around several mental health problems or challenges that may come about. Also, there are a good number of mental illnesses and mental disorders normally affect young children and teenagers. That's when the onset comes in. Therefore, parents' awareness to some of these mental health challenges can help in the early detection and the early reaction to some of these challenges. Also, it may help in fostering a positive environment towards the child, because if you look at someone who is, say, someone who has difficulties in concentrating, for example, understanding that early may help to formulate a system whereby the environment is supportive towards this child, rather than subjecting this child to a system of blame, or somewhat, take an example of learning disorders. If a child has a problem with arithmetic, a problem with reading, a problem with writing, you can be able as a parent to react quickly and maybe provide an environment where this child can also be able to learn to the best of his or her ability. Therefore, parents' awareness towards mental health disorders is important, and it is crucial to the development of their children.
Okay, so it is important for parents really to be there for their children. So as we're speaking about parents, what are some of the tell signs that a parent can be able to see in a kid and say, this person has a mental health problem or issue?
Okay, first of all, you come across what we call psychosomatic symptoms. These are medical symptoms, but with no medical basis. You find that there is a headache, but when you take the kid to hospital, after the doctor runs the tests, everything is okay. There can also be excessive worry with the children and anxiety. The child is always worried, even if the worry is not rational, even if the worry is you cannot explain it. Then there is detachment from other children. You can notice that the child may want to play alone, or they may want to do what we call parallel play, whereby the child is doing what the other children are doing, but they're not really engaging directly. And you can also see difficulties in concentration, especially this comes from the teachers. The teachers are the ones that notice it. So you find that the teachers will notice maybe the kid does not have a long attention spans. When it gets to some point, the kid zones out or something of that sort. And many other symptoms that you may see. Yes.
Okay, so those are the things that you as a parent can look out for. When you see your child has started having such signs, it's about time you start speaking to them to get to know if they have a problem. And if it's not something that you can handle by yourself, you can always call in psychologists. And here we do offer that. And that is why I give you the number to call. You can always call 0700-352-250 for any psychological help. So, going back to the conversation, we know the environment is really crucial for either the child, for the parent. So how can a parent really create a good environment? Because nimesema that they need to speak to the child, right? So how can they create a good environment that they can help the child to speak out?
First and foremost, I am always an advocate of learn before you teach. This is, the parent should really educate themselves on whatever problem, or generally on the problems that this child is going through. Because the thing with learning is it helps clear the biases that may be in your mind. It helps clear the cognitive bias that you may have. So you end up when you end up speaking to this child, from a point of information rather than from a point of ignorance, because someone in your church group said that a particular condition is driven out by prayers, and I'm not saying that prayers are bad. You cannot come and tend to exorcise the so-called demons out of your child because this child is behaving in a certain particular way. Therefore, learning about whatever your kid is going through can help in fostering an environment, a better environment for the well-being of this child, because it helps remove bias. Secondly, use loving and age-sensitive content to inform this child about whatever is going on, because the child is 9 out of 10 times confused about whatever is going on, because actually 9 out of 10 times children do not know that they have a problem. Children actually think that it's the other people that have a problem. You see? Therefore, how you approach this child and tell and explain this challenge to him or her, can impact how the child views himself or herself, their self-esteem, and so on and so forth. A good example is you may find that children with learning disorders, for example, may not really perform well in, normal school curriculum. But if you approach them from a point of view that makes them look inferior, they may end up projecting that view onto themselves. And this may exacerbate the issue. It may make the issue worse, because the kid may develop other comorbidities. The kid may become depressed. The kid may have other issues because they have a negative view of self. Also, there is a need to try and provide as much support as possible. This means try and engage professionals with your child as they grow up, because the professionals will help in creating systems where your child can be able to grow, support systems where your child can be able to grow within, and learn to appreciate the other talents that the child may have. Also, professionals may help the parent, because at the end of the day, if the child is having a problem, the parent also has a problem, in trying to understand what is happening. There is a challenge because the parent does not really know how to respond. This is a relatively new situation and nobody plans for it. So engaging professionals can also serve as a good way of improving the environment around which the child is growing. Therefore, the environment can be created, can be influenced to provide as much support as possible to this child, and also to try and ensure that the child feels part of the community, irrespective of the underlying condition. Do not try to make the child, do not try to alienate the child, because the minute you alienate the child thinks that they are not loved, that they are not cared for. In as much as you may try to think that you're doing it in the child's interest, you're trying to think that you're doing it to protect the child. Do not try to alienate them, because the minute you alienate them, the minute you show them that they are not loved, the minute they start to project that image towards themselves. Yes.
Okay, so now we've gotten to know how we can be able to, as parents, we can be able to create a good environment that can help us speak to our children well when it comes to their mental issues. We know that most times in school, when school days are back, like if it's not holiday, you find that the children really have quite a lot of time in school, right? So how can the school, or what is the role of the school in collaboration with the parents to be able to help these children be able to maybe be aware, more self-aware on mental health issues?
Okay. Schools exist in some sort of a triad, tripartite, R3-based relationship for the well-being of the child. For it to work, there needs to be positive work from the side of the school, from the side of the parent, and from the side of the student themselves. Therefore, you find that schools, first of all, they act as the first responders to these problems. They're the ones who actually notice that the child has a particular problem. Okay? So you find, because if you're with your child, you may fail to notice, because this is the child every day, day in, day out. This is the same person you're with, and you don't really get access to other children. But you see, from a teacher's point of view, the teacher has access to many children. Therefore, he or she may be able to spot something within this child. Therefore, they act as the first responders. They act as the first people to tell you that, hey, there's a problem here, go check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, schools can act as an awareness platform because they have a relationship with the parent. They have some sort of rapport with the parent. And parents place a lot of trust in schools, a lot of trust in the teachers that teach their children. Therefore, schools can act as an awareness platform whereby teachers can be sensitized to tell these people that this is what is going on, and it is manifesting in a way A, B, C, D, and this is what you can do as a parent to help support this child. Therefore, schools need to have more of awareness programs, have more of awareness programs to sensitize these parents, make them aware about their mental health, mental health of their children, mental health conditions that are there, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now we've gotten to understand now the correlation between parenting and also school when it comes to these school-going children. And I want us, as we continue thinking about it, if you're a parent out there, what are you doing to be able to help your child be able to work on their mental health issues? And you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. For now, let's take this short break and we'll be back. Welcome back. This is still the Unique Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera, and today we're speaking about the importance of mental health awareness among parents and parents with school-going children. So we're speaking about parents, and it is always very funny. Sometimes tumekuwa tukifanya a lot of mental health conversations, and we are hearing that some people watasema, oh, I got my trauma from my parents. So how can parents be able to really deal with their own stress and mental health issues without affecting their children?
Firstly, is to identify that there is a problem, that you have stressors that are not really taking you so well, or you're not really reacting so well to your own stresses. Because there is a defense mechanism, I think it's called displacement, that our parents usually use most of the time. The parent goes to work na pigiwa kelele na mdosi. Then when this parent gets home, who does she or he take the frustrations out on?
The child.
The kids, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, the kids grow to learn that maybe the kids grow to learn that their parent is like that. You see? Therefore, sometimes identification of the problem is normally good, because you cannot manage what you don't know exists. If you have, say, outbursts, for example, or you have problems with anger, or you have, even concentration issues, or so on and so forth, you're more likely, you're more likely to either pass them to your child through genes, because a good number of mental health challenges are genetic. Can be genetics can predispose someone to mental health challenges. And you find that if the parent is not aware, self-aware, the parent may always point out to the child that maybe the problem is with the child. Okay. Also, there is a need to practice a healthy work-life balance, because at the end of the day, we need to sustain our livelihoods. Therefore, there is need to balance between work and life, and the other aspects of life, because you find that some of the reasons people may develop mental health challenges is because of an unhealthy work-life balance. The parent goes to work at 4 a.m. The parent comes from work at 11 p.m. The kid is asleep by the time the parent comes in, and the kid is asleep by the time the parent leaves. Therefore, you find that the kid does not have any time to spend with the parent. They don't have that bond. Therefore, it will not be easy for, number one, parents to detect problems with the child. And it will not also be easy for the parent to try and form a connective bridge that may help to delve into the issue. So what I tell parents is to try as much as possible to create time for their children, to create time for other aspects of their life, to create time to do self-care. Yes, you get that you're trying to provide, but prioritize yourself. If you don't make time to prioritize yourself, your body will make time for it. So let us give space to ourselves, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Sure.
So make time for yourself, make time to rest, understand what you're going through, and seek support. Seek professional support, seek support from your friends, from your family, so that to ensure that even when you're undergoing challenges as a caregiver, because most of these parents, again, are caregivers. So even as you're undergoing challenges as a caregiver, you have avenues where you can effectively let the pressure out. You can effectively feel supported and feel loved. Yes.
So as a parent, it's good for you to take time for yourself, right? So are there any cultural or societal factors that maybe influence how parents perceive mental health?
Of course. Number one, it's by cultural and societal factors. Number one, there is the actual rise of social media, because I think we're supposed to stop thinking of cultures as places that we are from nowadays, because everywhere is cosmopolitan by now.
Yeah.
Therefore, the things that inform what we do is media, mainstream media and social media. You know, look at the stigma that comes with depressive disorders, for example, and things such as suicide and so on. How are they portrayed in social media? You know, and that dictates our understanding of the problem. You see, a good example, say someone, and it's unfortunate, say someone takes their own life, okay, and it is portrayed in social media. You know, someone just goes, records it, puts it there. The interpretations that arise from that will create some fear with another person. Therefore, if someone had an issue, this person may fail to come out with the issue, confide in someone, because they feel as if the interpretations that arise from this, whatever happened and was posted, will relate to him or her. So sometimes it's good to look at the culture from a media perspective, because it is one of the things that dictate our life right now. Secondly, there are narratives that are around mental health and mental health institutions. You know, they're either seen as weakness or insanity, and nothing in between. So you find that it's either seen as a weakness, you know, it's either seen as a personal fault. You have, say, anxiety, you know, an unexplained fear for something. And as a guy, you're told you need to be brave. You see?
Yeah.
So it is seen as a personal weakness because other people don't have it. On the flip side, it's you either seen as on the flip side, it's seen as insanity. You know, where mental health disorders and mental health facilities are seen as facilities for quote unquote insane persons. See?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of stereotypes that are influenced by today's culture and today's society regarding mental health, and there is a need to be aware of such, and a need to develop independent and learned, you know, informed perspectives on the two.
Okay, so now we know that how our culture really does things, or how it dictates things to us, will really affect how we are doing parenting, right? And it's very important for us to realize that not everything in social media that we see on social media is right parenting. Like, you can be seeing somebody, this is their way of parenting, but it's not always what should be your own way of parenting. I feel like it's good for us to always search for our own unique ways of parenting our own children. Like, we are the ones to decide, okay, this is how I want my child to grow. And regardless of what the society is saying, what social media is telling me to do. Yes, it's important to actually look at those things, but at some extent, be the one to say, this is how I want my own children to live like, or to live by, so that they can be able to become better people. So as we think about this, I want us to take this short break, and we'll be back with more information about the topic at hand. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera, and our lovely guest here. And I hope you guys have gotten to understand or are getting to learn more about the topic at hand, which is the importance of mental awareness among parents with school-going children. So if you're a parent out there, I hope you guys are getting even the opportunity to learn more about how you can be able to know that your child has an issue. And coming back to this discussion, I have a question. We spoke about warning signs, right? And it's important for us also to just remember that sometimes we can see some normal signs. So how can a parent really differentiate between the normal development changes and signs that are more serious when it comes to mental health issues?
I think every person has a somewhat detailed path of their development. You know that maybe for a child, by the time the child is getting to perhaps 6 months, you should start seeing teeth. By the time the child is getting to a year or a year and some months, they should be running around. By the time a child is getting to 2 years and some months or 2 years, the child should be, should have a few words in their vocabulary. By the time a child is getting to this age, this should happen. By the time the child is getting to this other age, there is that system that sort of everyone goes through. Okay? Therefore, with that system, you can be able to see, you can use it as a marker for your own development. The same thing with behavior. In behavior, there is behavior that you expect in a particular age of children. You do not expect a 2-year-old to have the memory of a 10-year-old, for example. Yeah. And vice versa is also not true. You do not expect a 4-year-old to have the concentration span of an 18-year-old. Okay? Yeah. That's why you find even in schools, their programs are different. In secondary school, the timetabling structure is not the same for that in kindergarten. Okay? Therefore, if you can use it as a marker to map out development for your own child. If you see behavior that is not cognizant to that age, if you see characteristics that are not cognizant to that age, then you'll know there's a problem. So there's need to know that. And also a good number of times you find that it's not that people never notice the problem, but people take a long time to convince themselves that it is a problem. People normally see it, but they will see it once, they'll see it twice, and it will take a long time for them to convince themselves that it's actually a problem and it needs to be looked after. Yeah. People will see something and then they'll say, it's adolescence, it will go away. This is just childlike behavior, it will go away. Therefore, there is need to also involve a set of professionals. Once you see such problems come up, or once you see what we call developmental milestones not being achieved, you've seen a child reach an age whereby it's normal for the child to go and play with others. There's an age where children play alone. They love solitary play. But there is also an age which, when attained, the child will want to go and play with other children. But you see this child, for example, has attained that age, but this child is engaging in solitary play or parallel play, for example. Yeah. You find that that is a problem. But you do not want to believe that it's a problem. So you'll downplay it. So the child keeps on growing and other telltale signs, show up, until the child gets to a point where it becomes detrimental to their life. It starts to affect other aspects of their life. So sometimes it's good not to downplay these signs. Sometimes it's good not to downplay these characteristics once you see them. Engage professionals. You know, there are child specialists out here. So engage them, make sure you try and make them part of the development of your own child, so that it can be easy to notice these problems. It can be easy to also react to these problems and control them.
Okay, so now we've gotten to understand that we need to seek professional help if we see that our kids or our children are really not having the right psychological, not really psychological, but also physical or even the normal type of development changes, right, that they're supposed to occur with them. So you said once we were having this conversation that it's important for them to do research. So where are these people or the parents able to go and maybe find the resources to be able to learn more about their children, and also how they can be able to also help them get to understand the mental issues, how to solve mental issues for their kids?
Okay, firstly, I think I mentioned the need for schools to have workshops, to create workshops, because I don't think I'll be able to send someone who's working to a particular website to go and learn, you know, something that maybe took so long to learn and understand. Therefore, there needs to be a sense of regularity in these workshops, you know, such that the parents can attend, you know, in functions such as academic clinics. School can opt to set a workshop where the parents can be educated on a certain problem. Also, the other source of information is your healthcare officer, is the person who treats your family, you know, because they're the people you run to when there is a problem. Therefore, those are the two people that can really help you when it comes to managing mental health. When it comes to learning about mental health issues, because they are the people that can help to detect these challenges. I highly discourage the internet, because a lot of websites, the internet is flooded with information. Therefore, it's easy to stumble upon a wrong piece of information, or rather a piece of information that does not really fit the scenario. It is also easy to self-diagnose when it comes to the internet. You know, you've seen a symptom X, Y, Z, you rush to the internet. The internet tells you that you have a certain disorder Y, or your child has a certain disorder Y. You start panicking. You start doing everything in your power to try and treat this disorder Y, which has not been diagnosed in any official setting. No tests have been done, nothing. Therefore, I strongly advise, if it is research, do research on the internet from a point of information, wanting to know about something, and not really trying to diagnose something, you know.
Yeah.
If you've been told with a professional that your child has autism spectrum disorder, for example. If you go to the internet, try the internet from a point of view of wanting to know what is autism, not wanting to know if your child has it. Want to know what is autism, what are the characteristics of people with autism spectrum disorder, how do people live with it, and so on and so forth. From that point of view, the internet can be very useful. But approaching the internet from a symptomatic point of view, that I have a person who has X, Y, Z symptoms, because the internet can come across as misleading. This is why a lot of mental health conditions have interrelated disorders. Have interrelated symptoms. Okay, you might find someone who has a symptom you might find people who have similar symptoms but have two distinct disorders. Again, mental health disorders are organized in clusters. They have groupings, their own groupings. Therefore, it is easy to go type your symptoms in one place and they give you a similar disorder but of the same cluster. Okay, if you look at trauma and stressor related disorders, for example, there are disorders that share characteristics and the only problem is the timeline. If you look at PTSD, if you look at post-traumatic stress disorder, if you look at acute stress disorder, those are two separate disorders. And the only difference between the two is the time,
Yeah.
If you look at schizophreniform disorder, if you look at schizophrenia, for example, again, those are two separate disorders. The only difference is the timing. They share a lot of very common symptoms, you see. Therefore, if you go to the internet from a symptomatic point of view, you're more likely to confuse the two because it's a system. But if you go to the internet from a point of view that I have a person X that was diagnosed with a disorder Y, and you want to know more about that disorder, you can really find it to be an informative place. Therefore, if it is research, I think the first point is engage professionals directly, where they're able to see the patient in question and they're able to do screening for the patient so as to come up with an effective diagnosis. Yes.
So it's the best thing is for you to involve a professional. Is there any advice that you can give to parents with children going to school?
Yes, parents with children going to school, this is for you. We understand that a lot is happening, especially in this world, this current world. And there are multiple sources of information,
Yeah.
But you're doing a good job in supporting your children because you support them to the best of your ability and to the best of your knowledge. And I'd like to commend and congratulate you for that. And also, I would like to encourage parents to try and form a friendly bond with their kids because it is one of the best ways that parents can be able to actually notice when problems arise. A good example is when a kid goes to boarding school, there is some difference in culture that arises, and this can come as culture shock. There can be stressors that were in that particular school that were not visible in a day school. Therefore, having a relationship with your child, you become the support system for your child. And also, it is good that parents prioritize themselves, to try and make sure that they also have time for themselves, time to better themselves, time to go through, to digest whatever has happened, time to respond to whatever stresses that they may have, because a healthy parent is a healthy child and is a healthy family.
Okay.
Leading to a healthy community as well.
Okay, so thank you so much, Denis, for the information and for the good advice, actually, that you've given our parents out there. And thank you for also taking your time to come and give us the information and teach us more on the importance of our own mental well-being when it comes to parents who have school-going children. So, asante sana. To everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much, Elias, for being behind the camera, being the director. Asante sana. To Valentine Chebet, thank you for always being behind the camera to help us through, even when we are having the Uni Breakfast show. So, asante sana pia. To all our viewers out there, thank you so much for always giving us feedback about all our shows. Tunapata a lot of your feedbacks, and we are really, really grateful. And thank you for also sharing to other people. So it's important for you, if you know you're not a parent, but you know of somebody else who has a child who is going to school, you can be able to share this with them, and they may be enlightened more on matters, the importance of mental well-being. So this has been the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera, and I hope you guys have been able to learn more about the topic at hand. Until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.